Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode. It's day 8 of our favorite rock guitar teams of all time, 31 Days of October. We're talking about our 31 favorite teams in all various kinds of rock music, rock, metal, hard rock, classic rock, prog, all that stuff. We had 2, or in many cases, maybe 3 guitar players who work superbly together. We're all picking out our absolute favorites. Remember, there's no right or wrong answer here. There are countless rock guitar teams in the history of rock music, but we're picking out our 31 favorites. So this particular group debuted in the mid-90s. They're from Sweden. Now, they've had 2 pretty spectacular guitar teams in their history. It was really tough for me to pick which one to go with, but ultimately I decided to go with the original duo. Of course, I'm talking about Opeth, and I'm talking about Peter Lindgren and Michael Akerfeldt. All right, they debuted, of course, with the Orchid album in 1995. All right, so we have I don't know if there are any pictures of these guys on these early albums. I don't quite think so. Not really good pictures you can see. But, I decided to go with the Akerfeldt-Lindgren team over Akerfeldt-Akeson just because I think the monumentally groundbreaking Opeth albums were the ones that Fredrik Akeson worked on. And I think, that Lindgren worked on. I think that Akeson is such a tremendous guitar player and lead guitar player that I think, like on the more recent Opeth albums, since Lindgren left the band, I think Fredrik Akeson has taken over the lead guitar role for the most part. Michael still has leads on some of the more recent Opeth albums, but he's become more of like the rhythm and texture guy, whereas Fredrik Akeson is the one who's doing like all the blazing leads. Whereas on the older Opeth albums, it was a little more balanced between the two, but you had Michael's wonderful acoustic playing and great rhythmic sense. He's really got the grasp on like classic rock and prog rock, and he has injected that, on all those early albums, he injected a lot of that influence with Peter Lindgren's wonderful melodic fluid, but also quite aggressive guitar soloing. So the two of them, had a really nice melodic sensibility between the two of them, and I think that's why a lot of the early Opeth albums worked so well. A lot of the songs are so big and heavy. This is death metal, but it's totally progressive death metal that embraced both folk music and classic rock and classic hard rock, all into this kind of really cool framework, avant-garde as well. So you have other albums like Morning Rise, all right, which has some incredible stuff on here. Advent, Nectar, Black Rose Immortal, some just ridiculously complex songs for a death metal band, right? And then, of course, My Arms, Your Hearse, which has the classic Demons of the Fall, right? April Ethereal's on here, Madrigal, When, The Amen Corner. Fantastic stuff. I mean, if you are someone who never gave death metal a try, but want to hear a death metal band doing something totally progressive, Opeth is your band. I mean, Opeth is the first band that I ever listened to. That really got me 100% on board with giving death metal bands a chance. Because before then, I always liked the musicality of I listened to Death and some of the early Florida bands in the late '80s, early '90s, but it wasn't until Opeth's Blackwater Park that I was fully on board and said, you know what, I think I can listen to more of this type of stuff. And just the weaving arrangements, the searing melodic lead guitar work, the acoustic work, the big crushing death metal riffs, it's just really complex stuff, odd time signatures and meters, and lots of light and shade. So we go from there. We've got, of course, Still Life, which is which is tremendous album. Loads of great songs on here. The More just is just one of many great songs. And then of course you have the classic Blackwater Park, one of the great albums of its kind of all time. Here you want to hear 2 guitar players just working together so seamlessly. I thought when I heard the news that that Peter Lindgren had left Opeth, I was flabbergasted because I'm like, God, these two guys were just made to play together. But, you know, they had been together for quite a long time, and he was ready to move on to other things. I don't think we've really heard much of anything from him. I think, did he get out of music altogether? I don't even know. I have just stopped following, you know. I just kind of like moved on, and, you know, he just kind of, he's a part of Opeth history, but I can't recall him doing anything else. I think he might have just became a family man or something. I don't know. I'd have to look that up because I really haven't. I haven't researched that at all. It's like it's so many years since he's been gone now, and I just to do this show today now for the first time in years and years. I'm like, oh, whatever happened to him? You know, it's like, Peter Lindgren, where are you? What are you doing? So yeah, Blackwater Park, absolutely stunning. So many great songs on here. The Leper Affinity is amazing. The Drapery Falls, amazing. The title track is amazing. Amazing. Patterns in the Ivy, Harvest, Bleak. I mean, this is one song after another. And Michael's blending of clean vocals and harsh vocals, so well done. But it's the guitars, the drums, the bass. I mean, this band just does all these amazing things. But man, two guitar players that just were born to work together. And of course, then you've got, Damnation and Deliverance. One is all mellow with lots of 70s prog and mellotron, electric piano, acoustic guitars, lovely clean vocals. The other is just absolutely brutal. And it's so funny because, like, you look at the two, you look at Damnation, you listen to the Damnation title. This is actually the mellow album. And then Deliverance, you look at Deliverance, and that looks kind of mellow, but this is the crushing album. Title track is amazing. Wreath, Master's Apprentice, of course, named after the Master's Apprentice band, because Michael's a big fan of all sorts of obscure 70s hard rock and prog. And then the last album that Peter Lindgren would appear on would be Ghost Reveries. This is the deluxe edition. And then for Watershed, we had Frederick Atkinson in the band, and he's been there ever since. So, this is the last album. You get to hear these two guys working together. Another amazing album. One of the couple of kind of transition albums as Opeth moved from being a death metal band into a straight-on 70s style prog and hard rock band, because that's basically what they do now. Ghost of Perdition, Bang of the Hounds is absolutely terrific. Beneath the Mire, Atonement, Reverie, Harlequin Forest, The Grand Conjuration is terrific. How Hours of Wealth, Isolation Years. I mean, this is just an amazing, amazing album, and it would be the swan song for Peter Lindgren and Opeth. But yeah, terrific band, terrific guitar team. I do want to give props to Frederick Atkinson and Michael Akerfeldt, who have continued on since the Watershed album as the main guitar forces in this band. They are amazing as well. I do want to give them props because I almost went with them because, I love the new Opeth stuff as well so much, but I did want to mention them today. But my main pick is going to be Akerfeldt and Lindberg, because I think those guys really shaped the foundation of what Opeth is today for all those years together. And, if you talk about the classic Opeth albums, it's some of these, right? It just really is. The new albums are great too, but, if I'm going to recommend Opeth to someone, and I'm going to be like, all right, you don't really know death metal, you should listen to some of the newer albums, but if you want like classic period Opeth, you got to listen to these, and you got to listen to these two dudes playing together, because they were amazing together. So there you have it. Peter Lindgren and Michael Akerfeldt from Opeth is my pick today for one of my favorite 31 rock guitar teams. So let us know what you think of this dynamic duo of Opeth in the comments below, as well as your pick for day, what are we at? Day 8? Yes, Pete, day 8. So put that all down in the comments below. And visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. They got some live albums too from this lineup, which I think also should be checked out if you get a chance. Do not miss that. Opeth have a number of really good live albums as well. So, but the studio stuff is absolutely amazing. So, so we'll see you tomorrow morning with another of our favorite rock guitar teams coming up tomorrow. Who knows what the dice will throw, but we'll see you tomorrow morning. And of course, don't forget, tomorrow we also have Ranking the Albums at 10 o'clock, but we'll see you right before then. And stay tuned in just a couple hours for the UK Connection, as we'll be talking about our favorite and least favorite albums from the Angel family tree. Angel, Jafria, and House of Lords. It's coming up in just a few hours, and we'll see you then. Take care, everybody. I'm Pete. Bye-bye.